IAS with a shawl, fruit basket at a moment.
ரெக்கார்டிங் போட்டிங்கல்ல? இப்போ தான் போட்டிங்க.
I request Dr. Korean Joseph to honor our Vice Chancellor with a shawl, fruit basket and a memento.
ஸ்பிரிட் லெவல் கரெக்டாக இருக்கா பார்த்துக்கோ.
Thank you, sir. I request Dr. Karthikeyan to honor our Sampath sir with a shawl and a fruit basket. I request you, sir.
சார் கொஞ்சம் சார் சார் இங்கே பாருங்க சார், இங்கே பாருங்க சார்.
Thank you, sir. I request Mrs. Manimekale to honor Professor Dr. S. Kanmani with a shawl and a memento. I request Dr. S. Karthikeyan to honor Professor Dr. Korean Joseph with a shawl and a memento.
சார் ஃபோட்டோ சார். ஓகே.
ஒளியே உண்மைக்கும் அறிவுக்கும் பிரபஞ்சத்துக்கும் சின்னமாய் பிரகாசிக்கிறது. Let us start the function with lighting of lamp. I request our dignitaries to light the lamp and inaugurate the function.
ஆட்டோ ஃபோக்கஸ் தானே சார்? ஃபோக்கஸ் ஆட்டோவில் தான்.
Thank you, sirs and ma'am. Professor Dr. S. Kanmani, Director, Center for Environmental Studies, Anna University, Chennai, has more than 28 years experience in research and teaching profession, and her expertise in the field of environmental engineering, treatment of domestic and industrial wastewaters, advanced oxidation processes, irrigation of AOPs and biological processes, converting waste into energy and useful products. Professor has published more than 100 research articles in national and international journals. Now I would like you to invite Professor Dr. S. Kanmani to welcome the gathering. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Shalini. Good morning. Most respected Vice Chancellor, Dr. Velraj, our Honorable Additional Chief Secretary, Thiru Shivdas Mena, Thiru Sampath, National Solid Waste Association of India, my colleague and Director, Center for Climate Change, Dr. Korean Joseph, Directors, Head of the Departments, Professors, my dear colleagues, dear students, scholars, and most important participants, non-teaching staff, I am very happy to welcome every one of you. Center for Environment Studies was established in 1955 under the Department of Civil Engineering, which was established in 1794 in the country, oldest. From then onwards, for the past 67 years, we are contributing and for the rich tradition in environment education, environment research and environment consultancy projects. In addition, we are also conducting need-based awareness training programs for all our various stakeholders. Even last week, we conducted a 3-day training program for State Pollution Control Board engineers from all over the country, which was sponsored by Central Pollution Control Board. Now, as we know that in the last 2 decades, we have understood the significance of wastewater reclamation and reuse. Since 2005 onwards, in the state of Tamil Nadu, effluent treatment plants were upgraded to zero liquid discharge treatment plants. And now we are also talking about sewage treatment plants to be upgraded to zero liquid discharge treatment plants. And in continuation of that, we are in need to talk about the solid waste management, which is like per person per capita per day. If we talk, it had increased from 0.2 kg to 0.5 kg to now it's coming to 0.7 kg. It might be increasing to 1 kg. It means that every one person in one day would be contributing to 1 kg, and the solid waste management is the need of the hour. And what is to be, we are not looking at wastewater as the wastewater. We are looking at wastewater as a water resource. Similarly, we are looking at solid waste as a resource for converting into energy and useful materials. That's a need of the hour. So in this context, it's very important to get ourselves updated with respect to the best state-of-art technologies, and that's the reason that we are providing this platform wherein all the practitioners all over the country, also at the international level, they are here to, eminent speakers and experts are here to share the experiences with respect to, and also to highlight and to enlighten about state-of-art technologies with respect to waste to energy plants. So I am very, very happy to welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. You remember before the lockdown, 1 week before the lockdown, we submitted a proposal approval to our Vice Chancellor. We got like the same program, Center for Environment Studies and Center for Energy. We were like planning, and the lockdown, we stopped it actually. Indeed, then after that, you had become the Vice Chancellor. So this was the program at that time we have initiated. Our Vice Chancellor is a mechanical engineer, specialist in energy engineering. He is a very popular teacher, very active researcher, active consultant. It's known to everyone. And so I need not tell about him. He is instrumental as far as putting the biogas plant for mess waste, food waste in the campus, which is functioning, in addition solar lighting and the solar PV panel systems, etc. And these are like the energy projects are very, very close to his heart. And he is providing his continuous support and encouragement to all of us. I am very, very happy to welcome you, sir, on behalf of organizers and on my behalf. And our Additional Chief Secretary, he is a civil engineer. It is like very, very nice. And he is like having got, I would say that water supply, sanitation, solid waste management, everything very close to his heart in my opinion. Also, he was like chairman for Central Pollution Control Board, and for the past year wherein we used to refer, sir, the 7th series that you had published with respect to Environmental Pollution Act and other publications that had come under your guidance, and so we were referring. So we are very proud with respect to CMWSSB. Such a perfect system was enacted for water supply and sanitation. Now your focus is towards the solid waste management, and we are very, very fortunate, sir, to have you with us today. Thank you so much. We are very grateful despite of your hectic schedule. In a very short notice, you have agreed to be here and for gracing this occasion. Very, very happy to welcome you, sir. And Mr. Sampath, sir, there's no
Okay,
need to
okay,
like,
okay.
I'm welcoming him officially, but he is like from day one, okay? He was like as part of Center for Environment Studies. Sometimes I used to feel him as our own faculty, our own colleague, okay? So National Solid Waste Association of India, it is like they were taking Center for Environment Studies as their own partner itself and working for this program from the first minute till now, and it is becoming a success because okay, the instrumental is like with respect to Mr. Sampath, Mr. Krishnan sir, and if I forgot, I think representatives of your association. So I'm very, very happy to welcome all of you. I'm also happy to welcome the eminent speakers from the national and national speaker, so many other, I'm not going to read it, it is there here. And from the ministry side also, retired director Lakshmi Raghupati madam is also joining, and also all the practitioners who are like, this is going to be a conference which is going to be little different, like we are not going to talk about the theory continuously, we are also going to talk about the case studies, okay, the successful models that are there nationally and internationally. So all the eminent speakers, I am very happy to welcome, and I am very happy to welcome the august gathering, the audience. Okay, without your presence, this would not become successful. Audience, sir, they are most of them are from the academic institutions also. Commissionerate of Municipal Administration had deputed engineers from the corporations and also the municipalities to participate in the program. And in addition, industry participants are also here. But there are a number of requests that had come, so we have opened the online registration yesterday evening, and more than 100 participants are expected to join online, because this is a very important new subject that people are very interested to know about it. And this is what I welcome all the participants. I am very happy to welcome my colleagues and my non-teaching staff, our research scholars, and most important, the coordinators, Dr. Karthikeyan, Professor, Center for Environment Studies, and Mrs. Mani Mekalai, and from Climate Change Study, Shalini, and her entire team, his entire team. I'm very, very happy to welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for the warm welcome, ma'am. Now I kindly request Thiru Shivdas Meena, Additional Chief Secretary, Municipal Administration and Water Supply, Tamil Nadu Government, to release the Waste Monitor magazine and kindly hand over the first copy to our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. R. Velraj. I kindly request you, sir.
కొంచెం క్లోజ్ ఉంది సార్, కొంచెం క్లోజ్ ఉంది. సార్ పోతుంది సార్. ఓకే, థ్యాంక్ యూ.
Thank you so much, sirs and ma'am. Mr. S. Sampath, Chairman Southern Chapter, NISWAI, has more than 40 years of experience in engineering projects and about 23 years of exclusive experience in plastics, recycling and solid waste management. He has been an active speaker across various national and international forums, seminars and workshops in the area of recycling and waste management. Now I request you, sir, to deliver the seminar theme address.
Thank you, Dr. Shalini. Dignitaries on stage, respective professors, speakers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. National Solid Waste Association of India is entering into the Silver Jubilee year this year. And Dr. Amiya Sahu, the President and Founder President of NISWAI, sending his warm greetings to all of you. So NISWAI, through this seminar, wishes to create awareness and showcase the technologies available to extract energy from the municipal solid waste. And Anna University has spontaneously joined us to have this event in their premises. All of us know that India generates about 60 million tons of municipal solid waste, and about 500 million tons of agricultural, or okay, let's say organic waste or agricultural waste. So this could be converted into energy in 100%. Once we take it out, the metals, inert, and maybe the moisture. So producing and utilizing energy from the combustion of solid waste is a concept which has been practiced in the world since the turn of the last century. There are more than 2,500 waste energy plants in the world. China alone has got about 500 to 600 plants, and India, we are still inching towards the double-digit figure. So waste energy is one of the best solutions to dispose the waste and get electricity or a fuel as a bonus. There are many challenges in going for the waste energy projects in India, which will be highlighted in the seminar. But the objective is to dispose the waste as quickly as possible after taking out the recyclables, inert, metals, glass, etc. To take out the recyclables, for a city like Chennai, which is producing about 5,000 tons of garbage a day, we need a gigantic automatic segregation system which can segregate recyclables, metal, inert, etc. So BMH Finland is one of the suppliers of the technology in the world, and they are going to be here online to talk about the segregation system. And MSW consists of about 30-40% of organic waste, and it could be converted into biogas or fuel instead of going for a mere composting. AAT Anka is an Austrian-based company who have been doing this biogas production technology, and they will showcase one of their plant in Turkey as a live case study. Mr. Thomas Dory from Germany, he is going to go through the concept of containerized biogas technology as like a mobile technology of compost, which are already deployed in this country. NESWI Vice President Sandeep Patel, who should be arriving anytime, he just landed in the airport. He has done quite a lot in collection of waste and processing, that is recycling, in the country's most important place, Indore, and also in Gujarat. ISJEC is one of a pioneer in India in executing WTE projects. They will share their experience in setting up the world-class waste-to-energy plants in Jabalpur, Delhi, Ahmedabad, etc. We have another veteran in this field, Mr. Raghavataman, who will talk about his experience in designing the WTU plants. Dr. Lakshmi Raghavati, who is Director of retired Ministry of Environment Forest, will dwell on the challenges of WTU right from the conceptualization to commissioning. Challenges like quality, segregation, bankability, government supports, technology, etc., which are still unsolved. National Thermal Power Corporation, that is the NTPC, has already taken initiative to convert the waste into coal through torrefication, and they already awarded a tender for awarded the work for converting the 800 tons of municipal waste in Varanasi to 400 tons of coal, which they will use in their thermal plants. So Mr. Amit Kushetra from NTPC will share his experience online. ACC Cement, that is, ACC is one of the pioneers in adopting the waste, we call it the RDF, that is the refuse derived fuel, as their combustibles in their input energy in the clinkers. Mr. Ullas Parlikar is the pioneer in, started from the scratch for ACC, and they have done more than close to 1 million tons of RDF in this country. So he will be presenting his experience online. My colleague Akila and myself will share our experience in the field of pyrolysis, where we convert all kind of a composite and non-recyclable plastic into fuel oil. We also have a technology to convert biomass and RDF into coal, biocoal, and also leaf. So leaf will be launched a little later. The leaf is low emission alternative fuel. When plastic is burnt, there are so much of toxic emissions come. and then we normally ban burning the plastic. But the leaf, we have developed a concept of low emission leaf where we add some catalyst so that it doesn't produce any emissions. So we have tested it and it's working well, and it's going to be available soon as one of the solution for the excavated plastics from the landfills. Whenever the waste undergo thermal degradations, there will be a big challenge in controlling and consistently monitoring the emissions. Professor Korean Joseph, who is one of the experts in the field, will share some of the techniques and technologies in the afternoon. So India consumes about 1 billion tons of coal, kind of a fossil fuel, and it produces about 2 billion tons of CO2 emissions. With our 65 million tons of MSW and 500 millions of biomass waste, we can go closer to the, go as an alternative fuel and go closer towards net zero emissions if we work together. I'm sure this seminar will throw light on these aspects and shift our attention towards how to handle our waste in the future. Look at it as a wealth and stop creating the garbage mountains as we see in many cities. I once again thank you all for all the participants who have come here, and I hope you all enjoyed technically. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for briefing about the seminar and giving an overview of the different possibilities and the ways in which we can use the MSW, Municipal Solid Waste, as a useful product. Thank you, sir. It's an honor and a great privilege to introduce the Shivdas Meena IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Municipal Administration and Water Supply, Government of Tamil Nadu. Sir was serving previously as a chairman of the Central Pollution Control Board, and he is an IAS officer of 1989 batch from Tamil Nadu. Now I take this opportunity to request the Shivdas Meena IAS to deliver the chief guest address.
Dr. Kanamani, Director, Center for Environmental Studies, Anna University. Dr. Velraj, Vice Chairman, Vice Chancellor, Anna University. Shri Sampath, Chairman, South Chapter of National Solid Waste Association of India. Mr. Sandeep Patel, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I am glad to participate in this one-day seminar on technologies for energy from municipal solid waste. This subject is very important in today's context when we urban managers are struggling to address our waste. Dr. Kanmani, while welcoming all of us, she gave a brief about what the center is doing in the field of waste management. And she focused on that how we should use the so-called waste as a resource. I think that is very important to recognize that whether it is liquid waste or solid waste, it also has a value. It can be used as a resource for producing something useful, and that is being done across the world and also in our country, and very much here in the city where all of you are here. Gradually we have to bring that paradigm shift, like not to add waste to the water. Henceforth, I would request you in Center of Environmental Studies as well as all of you that this is not wastewater. Now, we should call it used water, as many places it is being done. At the national level also, if you go through the guidelines of the first edition of Amrit, Atal Mission for Rejuvenation and Urban Transformation, and the second edition, you will find this change. Same thing is for the SBM guidelines. In the first edition of those guidelines, these missions came some 6 years ago, 7 years ago to be 6.5 years, 15th August 2015 was the Amrit, and I think October 2014 SBM was launched. So that time you can find the word used water, waste water, but now at the national level we have started calling it used water. And in fact, the Ministry of Jal Shakti, Department of Water and Sanitation, they are coming out, or I don't know whether they've released that the recycle policy. So there also this is being done. So therefore, let us place that henceforth we will use the word used water for the sewage. Now, if you see the value chain, Chennai Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board, CMWSSB, we have set up 2 desalination plants under the Amrit, one at Coimbatore and other one at Kodangiyur. These plants, each one of them with 45 MLD capacity. So we are supplying that used water to the industries after TTRO, and the Chennai Metropolitan Water Supply and Sewerage Board is earning nearly 100 crore revenue out of that every year. That is the value in the so-called waste. So we must recognize that. It also helped the utilities in cross-subsidizing the service delivery. And this is a win-win situation for the end users as well as the service providers. For the industries, for example, in case of Chennai, the big industries, they are assured of water. In the year 2003, when the city faced severe water scarcity, we had to stop the water supply to the industries. For CPCL, even we transported the water from a lake about 50 kilometers south of Chennai near Chengalpet called Kalvai Lake. We transported that water through tankers because that water was not suitable for domestic purpose. They had to shut down the refinery because the water was not available. But now, the water supply to those industries, whether it is CPCL, MFL, or many other industries in the northern belt and also in the western belt near Sriperumbudur and Oragadam, the water supply is assured because there are no takers for that water. So therefore, this is a win-win situation. We must recognize that. Of course, that is not the topic of today's seminar, but I just wanted to, because it is so dear to my heart. When you talk of anything like waste, then water, liquid waste is very important. So let us, I thought that I must mention about that. Today's topic again is very, very relevant, very important. On 1st October 2021, Honorable PM launched the 2 missions, Swachh Bharat Mission 2.0 and Amrit Mission 2.0. And the Swachh Bharat Mission, its objective is to sustain the achievements we made during SBM. We need to sustain, like for example, it may be ODF or ODF plus and other things, garbage free cities. Now, unless we address our waste totally, we can't claim that our cities can be garbage free. It is the easiest thing to collect the garbage and take it away from the city. But it is really difficult, and that is most important, and that is to process that. We must process each and every gram of the solid waste. As Dr. Kanmani was talking about the solid waste being generated, earlier we were talking and we used to, all experts used to tell us that various empirical studies have shown that we are generating about on an average 500 grams per capita solid waste. But now it is increasing. Even if we take our individual households, earlier for purchasing that domestic groceries and whatever we require for the households, maybe once in a month we used to go to the say some grocery or the departmental store and buy that. But now, if you have especially the youngsters children, you will find that every day there would be this Amazon guys that that through e-procurement, the delivery guys, they will come and they will deliver the goods. Then again, the youngsters, they may not like, they will send it back. So in the entire process, so much of solid waste is being generated. It is enormous. So now per capita generation of solid waste is really increasing. And we need to address, we need to process. Now it is easier to process the dry waste, the wet waste. We have a lot of capacity even in the towns and cities in Tamil Nadu. In fact, a lot of good work has been done. And we are addressing that through maybe it is biomethanation, bio-CNG plants, the micro-composting, windrow composting, and so forth and so on. But the dry waste, the RDF, the plastic, it still remains a challenge. We are transporting, in many cases we have tied up with the cement factories. They use it in their clinkers and that RDF. Of course, that is again win-win for both the cement factories and the solid, the waste producers like ULBs. And in fact, if the process of using solid waste, using RDF in the clinkers, it predates the solid waste management rules, 2016. From the 2010 onwards, cement factories, they are using that because they also found a value in that. So most of the cement factories having this facility to process the RDF, they are doing it. But there are still some cement factories, they have the kilns, but they are unable to process and they need to really upgrade their clinkers so that they can use. One of such is Tansen. We have state government's own cement factory in Ariyalur. I am happy to share with you that the government has approved 30 crore rupees to upgrade the clinker in Tansen, and they can also now do this. So maybe something like 9 months or 1 year down the line, they will be upgrading it, and after that they will be able to process about 10 metric ton per hour of the RDF, their clinkers also. But still, there is a huge demand, that demand and supply gap. We are generating nearly 15,000 metric ton of solid waste every day, and of that nearly 6,000 metric ton is the dry waste. That includes plastic, that includes a lot of the other non-degradable material, and that is to be processed either in co-processing in cement factories, or we have to have some standalone processing facilities for this waste. We are in the Swachh Bharat mission. In fact, for the Tamil Nadu alone, we have prepared a plan of nearly 8,500 crore Indian rupees for the Swachh Bharat mission. Partly we will be getting assistance from Government of India, and maybe around 2/3 of that would be borne by the state government. And through that, we want to address the problem of solid waste processing and whatever associated with the domestic waste, with the municipal waste. We are planning to set up 3 waste to energy plants. We have assessed that nearly 1,200 cubic meter of a metric ton of the dry waste has to be processed even after supplying the dry waste to the cement factories. So for that, we have included that in our plan, and that has also been agreed by the Government of India. I am sure that the seminar, today's seminar, will focus in such cases, what are the technologies, what are the best practices available in the field of waste to energy, why the waste to energy has not picked up in our country. Dr. Kanmani mentioned that nearly over 500 plants are functional in China, but in our country we are yet to touch the double-digit figure. So what is the reason why that is not picking up? So I think we need to, whether it is a technological issues or whether it is something like commercials, and how to address those issues. I am sure that in today's workshop you will deliberate on these issues. Another big challenge we are facing in the solid waste is that the legacy waste. Few years ago we estimated that nearly 200 lakh cubic meter of legacy waste is there at various sites. We identified nearly 257 legacy waste sites in our state, and majority of that waste is dumped in two sites in Chennai, that is at Kodangiyur in south and Kodangiyur in north and Perangudi in south Chennai. I am happy to inform that out of these 257 sites, already the work is in progress at 145 sites. And for the remaining 112 sites, we have included it in the Swachh Bharat Action Plan. And out of that, 39 sites, including the Kodangiyur, we will be addressing this year. This year, we are planning to address that Kodangiyur's thing where nearly 64 lakh cubic meter of waste is accumulated. So our aim is that in next 2.5 years, the entire legacy waste should be addressed. And when we talk of the legacy waste, we have to address lot of RDF. When we, through the process of biomining, we separate the inerts, the biodegradable or the compost and RDF. So that RDF also has to be addressed. Of course, we are tying up with the various cement factories, but still there is some kind of, right now, we have the problem of plenty of waste. The demand from the cement factories and the processors, because we don't have our own processing facility for the RDF, we depend only on the cement factories. So there is a huge gap. I am sure that when we set up our own processing facilities, when we generate additional capacity in the cement factories for co-processing the waste, this demand-supply gap would be taken care of. Our aim is that today's waste should not become tomorrow's legacy waste. And that would be possible only when we have some good technologies, workable technologies for processing the dry waste, and the platforms like this will show way for that. I would request Dr. Kanmani that at the end of the seminar, whatever document, whatever report you prepare, please share a copy of that. We would like to use that while formulating policies and plans to address the solid waste in our state. I wish the seminar all the best. I am sure that it will throw a lot of good things, opportunities in this field. And with that, I conclude my, the sharing of my thoughts with you. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for the warm speech and inculcating our minds with the different concepts of the used water, about the legacy waste and the Amrit mission, and also talking about the different technologies available for the liquid waste treatment. Thank you so much, sir. I also welcome Mr. Sandeep Patel, the Vice President of the National Solid Waste Association of India. Welcome you, sir. And I request Mr. Sampath, sir, to honor our Vice President with the shawl and memento. Thank you, sirs. Now, it's an honor and great pleasure to introduce our Vice Chancellor of Anna University, Professor Dr. R. Velraj. Professor has BE degree in Mechanical from Annamalai University, Masters on Energy Engineering and PhD degree from Anna University. He is a professor in Institute for Energy Studies, specialized in thermal energy storage, solar energy, desalination, energy efficient buildings, energy auditing and management, fundamental studies of heat transfer and computational fluid dynamics. Professor has made outstanding R&D contributions to his credit. He has about 225 research articles in international journals, completed supervision of 37 PhD scholars, and has a scientific citation of 10,933 with H index of 54. Professor has received DAD fellowship by Germany as part of his research work. He is also a board of governors of National Design and Research Forum Bangalore, recipient of Bharat Jyoti Award towards scientific contributions in the year 2017 by the India International Friendship Society. Professor has implemented several great initiatives inside Anna University campus. Now, I take this opportunity to request our Honorable Vice Chancellor to deliver the presidential address.
Respected Thiru Shivadas Meena, Additional Chief Secretary, Municipal Administration and Water Supply, Government of Tamil Nadu. Mr. Sandeep Patel, Vice President, National Solid Waste Association of India. Mr. S. Sampath, Chairman, Southern Chapter, National Solid Waste Association of India. Our Director, Dr. S. Kanmani, Director, Center for Environment Studies, and Dr. Kurian Joseph, Director, Center for Climate Change and Disaster Management, and all the speakers who are going to give their valuable expertise to our August gathering, and all the participants who have come for this very important meet. It's a energy from municipal solid waste. It's a very important topic. What I have been seeing in the past 20 to 30 years in my profession, this waste to wealth, waste to energy, we have been talking, but civil department is talking about this waste management. Energy, mechanical engineers, they know how to convert, but they are not talking about the waste. And chemical engineers, they are also talking about this, but there is no good coordination among these three engineers. That is the main reason it is technologically it is not taking up. Mechanical, civil, chemical engineers should work together. Some 25 or 30 years ago, I got the opportunity to do my PhD, part of my PhD. 2 years, I got my opportunity to visit Germany under DAD fellowship. So the first day I went there, I was in a hostel, student hostel, and the way these waste were segregated, collected, some different baskets were there. The way it was segregated, it was like a different world for me. I was from that is town, and even the way it's very good. The places in city, it is not there. I was born in Nagarkoil, a town, and suddenly when I went to Germany, it was a different world. The way it was segregated, all the people every day, some days to collect this electronic waste will come, the vehicle will come, and all the plastic waste will be segregated, glass bottles will be segregated. The segregation was very, very nicely done. But even after 30 years, it is not being done in our country. It's very pathetic. So 30 years ago, I have seen how it was collected. So there are major reasons for that. Before that, I want to tell about my experience towards this waste to wealth. So 25 years ago, after my joining in Anna University, I got the opportunity to do some consultancy assignment to a sugar mill. So it was a government, that is cooperative sugar mill, Chengalrayan sugar mill. So all the sugar bagasse were dumped like a mountain, and it was not used. They were waiting for the paper mills to take away their waste. But that time we have a consultancy, we provided a report how to use that as for energy conversion. But within 2 years, that mill, that they have installed, that mill had the capacity of 2,500 tons crushing per day. So lot of bagasse were generated. They were able to generate 7.5 megawatt from that waste. But they have installed only 3 megawatt power plant from that bagasse, and successfully it was implemented. Even now it is in operation. But immediately after that introduced, all the sugar mills like Bannari Amman, Shakti Sugars, all they have implemented their that is waste to wealth, that power conversion, that is that plant for generating power. It was implemented. After that, I realized that sugar mills, all the sugar mills, most of the private sugar mills they have implemented. In most of the sugar mills, their major income is from the power what they generate from the waste, not the sugar. It was sugar mill, but now their major income is from power what they generate. But unfortunately, what happened, there are some 18 cooperative sugar mills. The 2 sugar mills only have implemented that concept of cogeneration, that is converting that bagasse into power. But other cooperative sugar mills, they had no fund to invest, and it had not taken place even now. So all these waste are being wasted now also. Okay, they are sending this to paper mill. Okay, paper mill also sending this is a good thing. But these mills, cooperative sugar mills, even all these cooperative sugar mills are running with loss because the technology has gone up, but they are not able to utilize their waste into money. So they are, all the sugar mills, cooperative sugar mills, even they are running with loss, but for the benefit of the farmers only these sugar mills are in operation even now. Like that, another experience I got in the waste collection for the entire Ministry of New and Renewable Source of Energy. They have given one assignment to our department. I was in the Institute for Energy Studies. So we got an assignment because lot of agricultural waste are being not utilized. You should understand one small thing from this sugar mill. Today, from the private sugar mill, the power we generate is more than 7% of the total power generated. Only from the one crop, sugar cane, we are able to generate nearly 500 megawatt of power for the state. So then you should understand what are the other crops available in the state, that crops how being wasted, just burning there and there. It is not, we are not able to collect those agricultural residues. So you should understand only one crop is able to provide power to the extent of some 7% of the total power generation. So obviously, even with the residues available in all the other agricultural residues itself, we can generate lot of power. Considering that only, this Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, they gave an assignment, consultancy assignment to our institute. We did extensive, I visited all the districts of Tamil Nadu, some 2 years. I met all the collectors, tahsildars and other department officers and collected all the information, and first-hand information also I got from all the farmers. And we gave a very good report to government. That report was sent from Ministry to Ministry of Non-Conventional, that is from the Central Ministry to State TEDA, Tamil Nadu Energy Development Agency, to implement this for the generation of biomass-based power plants in the entire state. Based on that recommendation, nearly 15 power plants have come. But all these power plants later they failed. Because all these power plants, because the collection mechanism was not proper. So what in the recommendation also we gave, the collection mechanism is the major problem. The collection mechanism, it is very difficult to collect all these biomass residues which are very voluminous waste. But if you transport this to a larger distance, the transport cost itself will be very high. So you should have some technology available to utilize this waste in the nearby area. Otherwise, it is not feasible. That all this. So during that time, one more interesting observations we have made in our Tamil Nadu, in the state of Tamil Nadu, there are four to five districts like Thuthukudi, Virudhunagar, Ramanathapuram, Sivagangai, Tirunelveli. These area, this belt, lot of biomass. This it is called woody, Prosophis juliflora, Udamaram, Karvela Maram. It's called Karvela Maram. These trees are. This is initiated by our former Chief Minister Kamaraj. When there was poverty in those areas, Ramanathapuram, he put the seed through helicopter, and because of which it was grown. Okay, it gave some poverty eradication to those people those days. But these plant residues, lot of residues were there. This what happened now? This wasteland, it's all automatically, even without cultivation, this plant will grow. All these were cut by some farmers. The farmers those days in 2004 we did this assignment. So these farmers, they got 100 rupees for the tree cutting of this 1 ton biomass, and this owner, they got some 150 rupees per ton, and this middleman, those who are trading from this, all these biomass were utilized for some requirement in Tirupur, Karur, Coimbatore, Nilgiri. Nilgiri also some 200 tea industries are there. And Coimbatore, it's a textile for yarn dyeing and yarn, this dyeing purpose. This Karur also, Karur, Salem, all these industrial belt area only required small industries, some 1,500 industries are there. They are using at least 1 to 2 tons of biomass every day. But this biomass is transported from Ramanathapuram to this place. So you should understand, Ramanathapuram to this place, nearly some 400 to 500 kilometers. So one lorry load can take some 10 to 12 tons of biomass. 10 to 12 tons of biomass. So for every ton of biomass transportation, the farmer, they got only 100 rupees. The owner of this land got some 150 rupees. Middleman got some 300 rupees. And major, then this downloading, handling, another 100 rupees. Major cost was for the fuel consumed by the lorry, which consumed nearly 600 rupees per ton that time. Now this ratio may be same, but now instead that time it was 1,100 rupees per ton biomass price. That's woody biomass price. Now it is 4,000 rupees. So the everything may be proportionately. So you see, for the transport of this biomass from that place to this place, we are using fuel which is not available in our country. So we should then we have recommended that fuel should not be transported for this low grade requirement. All these requirement for these 1,500 industries were only some hot water or steam at some 2 bar for yarn dyeing, there's a leaf drying, tea leaf drying, all these requirement, only some 1 bar to 2 bar, that even from solar thermal you can get it. So very easily we can make it. So we have made the recommendation, but this accordingly the government also initiated lot of power plants, some 15 to 20 power plants came in the various parts of Tamil Nadu, but unfortunately those people, they couldn't concentrate how to collect this biomass, and later these biomass based power plants were converted into coal based power plants. Very few, 1 or 2 power plants are only successfully operating even now. So it is very pathetic that that is what for which what is missing, we need to educate the collection mechanism. For collection mechanism, the industry alone is not sufficient. Yeah, I welcome the mayor. I welcome our mayor, Mrs. R. Priya, to have come to this important meeting. I always feel that any technical session, government participation should be there. Without government participation, finally, if it is not made as a policy, whatever technological things cannot get implemented. So always any technical meet, some government participation should be there. Only if they understand any implementation in the society is possible. I welcome Madam for your gracious presence in this meet. Yeah, I was talking about this scenario of biomass transportation from this east side to west side of Tamil Nadu. We have been wasting lot of money for the transportation alone, and only because we are not able to collect properly, for which government's support is also required. Otherwise, it will not happen. So like this, there are several experiences we have heard. Everywhere I have been seeing, this collection mechanism is still the problem. For the collection mechanism, any private agencies alone cannot succeed. Government participation is required. Because most of the municipal solid waste or any solid waste or liquid waste, channelizing that, lot of effort is required. I am in the field of renewable energy also. So we have been talking about this renewable energy for the solar, and even my professor, when I studied my BE, the professor was telling about the ultimate solution is solar energy. In another few years it may come. In 1982 itself he told. But it came, till 2010, there was not even 1 megawatt of power through solar energy. But when the government made it as a mandatory thing, like a mission, policy, when Jawaharlal Nehru solar mission was initiated, then our Tamil Nadu solar energy policy was initiated. Now we have more than 2000 megawatt within some 10 years. Right? So anything to implement, we need policy. Even with a lot of difficulties, I have installed, when I was the director Institute for Energy Studies, I have installed one biogas plant. Food waste, 1 ton food waste is now being converted into biogas in our hostel. But when we implemented, one IAS officer from the DOT, he was also in charge of that time as on behalf of Vice Chancellor. That time Vice Chancellor was not there. Then one committee, 3-member committee was administrating this university. When I tried to get permission, he correctly pointed out how you will manage this after implementation. Because mostly this kind of waste collection and generating.
I will take this.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. In most of the places, collecting waste, one government organization, when their job is teaching, or other organization when they are doing something else, they cannot take care of this biogas plant. Even the estate office cannot do that. So unless it is outsourced. It cannot happen. Most of the cases. That is why these kind of things. So this, what my suggestion is, government should come forward first, how to make a policy and implementation procedure along with the technologists. Along with the technologies to formulate guidelines. Otherwise, whatever technology is available cannot happen, cannot implement. We cannot implement. I was in School of Energy for a training for 2 months. That time also, pharmaceutical waste were transported from Maharashtra every day. Several lorry loads of pharmaceutical waste, medical waste were coming from Maharashtra to Trichy just to incinerate. But after incinerate, only it's a waste disposed. Waste is not converted into wealth. So we should understand what are all the technologies available to convert this solid waste into wealth. So to my knowledge, thermal technologies, incineration is one technology where if the waste, if some poisonous things are there, we should incinerate. But during the incineration, we should capture the energy which at a very high intensity we will burn. So we should take that. And pyrolysis is another technology which can convert into useful thing. Or gasification, and through that gas can be utilized. So there are two types of gas. Waste gasification on the thermal mode is one method, and chemical mode, that is biogasification, methanation. So methanation is another technology. Only these 4 technologies are available to convert this waste into wealth, waste into energy. But one thing you should understand, even this converting to energy should be the last resort. Because before that, waste has lot of wealth. If you are able to segregate all this, and if you route this to the useful direction, because the waste, the final solution is only to convert and burn it or use it for energy requirement. Before that, if you are able to recycle it, that has more value than this converting into energy. So that we should understand. Unfortunately, we are thinking all waste we are being wasted, but there are so many segregation in so many ways. This waste, from the waste, people are taking all the useful things in our country, but that is not in the organized by the organized sector. In an unorganized way, it is being segregated. But we should organize that, and the segregation is the first requirement. And while segregating all the waste, we need to the minimum first requirement is wet waste and dry waste. That if we implement, we were in Besant Nagar, before I took charge as Vice Chancellor, we were in Besant Nagar, one Urbasa, that company started collecting in the last 2 years. They have been collecting this wet waste and dry waste. My wife was also telling, luckily government also initiated in a very good way. It's going in a right way. But we came here to Anna University, but now nobody is coming from the corporation to collect that waste. Now she is telling to arrange to take all the wet waste and dry waste to the right place. She has been requesting for the last 3 months. So it is now I want to implement that. How? Because even in our Madras city, some places only the collection of solid waste and dry waste is taking place. Not only some 20% of the city. I don't know whether this collected waste are going to the right place and rightly it is segregated. Okay, that segregation also should take place in a proper way. And what I have seen in Germany some 30 years ago, at least in the near future, in 5 years, if we all work together, the government should understand first the wealth from the waste, and then in an organized way, along with the technologists, some guidelines to be formulated, and if these policies are announced by the government, and if it is policy also, if it is announced, only some 5% people will listen. If during the implementation some other forcefully we should make it. Rainwater harvesting was done in a very good way in our country, in our state. In the same way, some other measures, the rainwater harvesting is done in our state in a much better way than any other state in the country. In the same way, if we make policy and implementation procedure, if we make it properly, it takes only 5 years to implement properly. So I request all the administrators and all the technologists to work collaboratively and make policies, and implementation procedure also should be evolved, so that because this waste, lot of collaboration from the small administration, rural administration, urban administration, town panchayat, everybody's help is required. So if the policy is made in a proper way, it will not take even 5 years to dream. Whatever is now is we see as a dream will come into reality. I congratulate all the organizers who have organized this very important meet. I congratulate them and I wish you all the best. All the speakers, I hope you will get very fruitful information during this one-day meet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring speech and inculcating our minds with your sharing the experiences of your experiences and knowledge about the ways to health in all these years. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to request our Vice Chancellor to honor our Manmimigu Chennai Mayor Priya Rajan with a memento and a fruit basket.
சைடில் வந்துருமா சைடில் வந்து
சைடில் வந்துருங்க.
இது வந்துருங்க.
மேடம்
சார் கொஞ்சம் க்ளோஸ் சார்.
சார் கொஞ்சம் க்ளோஸ் சார்.
சார் கொஞ்சம் க்ளோஸ் சார். சரி சார்.
சார் எடுங்க.
Thank you, sirs, and thank you, ma'am. Manmimigu Mayor Priya Rajan is the Chennai Corporation's youngest woman mayor and third woman mayor of the corporation after Tara Cheriyan and Kamakshi Jayaraman. Madam is a MCom graduate from Sri Kanyaka Parameshwari Arts College for Women. Her main priorities is finding solutions to the city's waterlogging problem. Now, I request you, ma'am, to launch the LEAF, which is the low emission alternative fuel. I kindly request you to launch the LEAF, ma'am.
Mask please, madam. కొంచెం సైడ్లో ఉంది
మేడం కొంచెం కాదు.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for launching the low emission alternative fuel. Thank you so much. Now we'll move on to the felicitation address.
Mr. Sandeep Patel is the co-founder and CEO of National Electric Power Regulatory Authority and Vice President of National Solid Waste Association of India. Sir did his MBA in e-commerce strategy and project management from Leeds Beckett University, United Kingdom. He is an entrepreneur with over a decade of experience in the waste management and recycling sector and is working towards creating waste management ecosystem in India. I now request you, sir, to deliver the felicitation address.
So, thank you, Anna University and Sampath to organize this event along with Anna University on behalf of NASWI, and I'm also a founder of waste management company called NEPRA. It has nothing to do with electricity or anything. It's just a waste management company, just to clarify. So, today, I think this year we did almost 25 years of existence of NASWI, and we had amazing leadership shown by Dr. Sahu, who had the vision to start a waste management association very early. And since 13-14 years, I have been in waste sector. I could only find one association 13-14 years back in the country, and it was NASWI. So I became a member at that time, and have been a life member since then. And I got an opportunity to lead as an entrepreneur to bring some level of change in NASWI's approach also, because the waste sector has evolved in last 2-3 years, and maybe I would say exactly 4 to 5 years. What we have seen, in the journey in 30 years, that waste to wealth is not possible if you don't segregate. That is core to everything. So whatever technologies we are going to be talking about to solve the problem, we will not be able to solve if we inherently don't focus on the behavioral change and the approach which we handle towards it. So government, Meena sir mentioned about SBM 2.0, and it has put a significant stress on segregation, capacity building, infrastructure building, which government authorities can utilize SBM 2.0 guidelines to improve the infrastructure, as well as the ecosystem and IC activities around it. More importantly, waste management earlier was only for profit, because it was very opaque. We could not see what was happening. We were not talking about it. But with Swachh Bharat Mission being launched, we are talking about waste, and we are seeing a significant percentage of the population now concerned about the waste problem. And I think it's a good direction where NASWI would play a significant role going forward, because we have changed the approach at NASWI in last 2 years, where we intend to support and work with various organizations to do the capacity building along with them, because as entrepreneurs in the sector, we have learned what not to do, because biggest challenge in waste management is the mistakes which we continue to make, and we should not be repeating them going forward. So as organizations within NASWI, all the members and all, we have that capacity and understanding about the mistakes which have been made in the past and how we can evolve around that. The issue around legacy waste as well as waste to energy not picking up, I think it again mainly lies into the way we process the waste or segregate the waste. So even if we would want to make something out of a fuel out of something, we would have to understand that the legacy waste does have a lot of inert content attached to it. So unless and until we do not remove the inert content, which is essentially sand or anything else, which whenever we put sand in any fire, basically doses the fire off. So we have to understand making quality RDF is going to be important to do proper segregation and screening of material. At the same time, we need to also understand that waste to energy can only succeed if proper segregation or quality parameter of RDFs are achieved. And I think cement companies also do struggle with that. I work with almost all cement companies across the country, and it is important for them to have a certain grade of quality of material, because they are using it in replacement of coal. More importantly, I think waste is the only industry where the raw material is inconsistent, because unfortunately in any other industry you have control over the raw material, you have control over the specification. So it's a unique industry, very good opportunities. As NASWI, I would definitely say that this is the time where the country seeks more entrepreneurs and more startups in the ecosystem to really get into it. ULBs and urban local bodies and municipal corporations have the tools under SBM 2.0. At the same time, the public participation has increased. So I think it's much more possible to get success. And I think after Indore, another city which I visited, which seems to be very clean, is Chennai, because coming from the airport, my flight was delayed. It's a very clean city. So I should appreciate very clearly. After I work in Indore city, we do the waste management over there. And after that, this is the second city which I would definitely comment on. It looks very clean, and I think is poised to continue to take that lead. And again, I would thank everybody else involved in our paucity of time. I will end it here. Thank you very much. I will explain about the waste management in dry waste space more in detail in my session later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your thoughts. எவ்விடங்களிலும் குவியும் திடக்கழிவு பருவநிலை மாற்றத்தையும் ஊக்குவிக்கக்கூடியது. மாற்றுவோம் திடக்கழிவை பேராற்றலுக்குரியதாய். வாருங்கள் கேட்போம் வழிகளை நம் மாண்புமிகு சென்னை மேயர் பிரியாராஜன் அவர்களின் வார்த்தைகளால்.
dear distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I really feel honored and privileged to be a part of this international seminar on energy from solid waste. Energy from solid waste is really an important project and progressive steps in achieving our Honorable CM's mission of Singara Chennai 2.0. It is not only to help to keep the city clean, but also to contribute to reduction of greenhouse gases, uses of fossil fuel and waste going to landfill sites. In addition, it is an environmental friendly, creates jobs, helps in better recovery of projects. Our Honorable CM have introduced several noble programs and successfully implemented them. My objective is to carry our Honorable CM's mission of keeping our city and state clean. Our Honorable CM have allocated a budget of 20,000 crores for keeping our environmental clean, hygienic and healthy. The agenda and the topic in this seminar are very relevant to our CM's Singara Chennai 2.0 projects. I really wish and hope that the ideas and initiatives discussed in this seminar get converted into projects that we can execute and provide a clean and healthy state to provide our beloved people. I am always available to listen to your suggestions and will provide full support and cooperation. Thank you. Nandri.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. Now I would like to request our Director, Center for Climate Change, Anna University, Chennai, Dr. Kurion Joseph, to deliver the felicitation address.
Honorable Mayor of Greater Chennai Corporation, Ms. Priya, respected Vice Chancellor, respected Additional Chief Secretary, distinguished invitees, participants. At the outset, I would like to take this opportunity to express our sincere thanks to the government of Tamil Nadu, especially the Principal Secretary, Municipal Administration, the administrators of Greater Chennai Corporation, for the confidence that they have invested on Center for Environmental Studies in associating us with all the biomining projects. As our Additional Chief Secretary was saying, legacy waste management is one element of waste management. We have about 140 sites where biomining is taking place, and the Center for Environmental Studies is associated with that. And this topic is very closely connected because in all these sites, almost 30% by weight and maybe 60% by volume. The legacy waste that we take out are combustible waste, primarily the plastics and the textiles and other combustible materials. The disposal of which, of course, it was thought that our cement plants will be having adequate capacity to take care of it. But once we have started bigger projects, especially Perigudi, currently about 35 lakh cubic meter of waste is being biomined. And in Coimbatore, about 10 lakh cubic meter of waste is being biomined. So the quantity of RDF that is generated from such places, our cement plants and the cement plants in the neighboring states are not adequate. Of course, it was initially itself thought, but it was envisaged that realizing the need, private players will come and they will set up waste to energy plant. But as our Mass Secretary was rightly saying, our experience related to waste to energy projects in the country is not very good. Though we have several big plants and small plants, the sustainability is still not convincingly established. That is the background in which we are associating with this, and I also take this opportunity to thank NSWAI for identifying this topic in their Silver Jubilee year, especially Sampath Krishnan sir. Both of them were working for past, I think, 3-4 months consistently to see that the different stakeholders are brought. The mayor is here, chief secretary is here, our vice chancellor is here. All the distinguished speakers from national and abroad are here. It is basically to find what is the difficulty. As Mass Secretary was saying, if other countries can set up waste to energy plant, why we are not able to do it? In my analysis, it is basically our decision with reference to waste to energy is not based on the right information, because many times we project waste to energy as the complete solution. So the first part that we need to realize is waste to energy has got a place, but it should be placed in the right position in the overall system of waste management. Of course, as we get into the sessions, we will know there are two approaches. We have the biomethanation route for the biodegradable waste, highly biodegradable waste, and the thermal route for the combustible waste. If we mix both together and set up one plant, the plant will fail. Not only that, we have a lot of inerts, and if the inert gets into it, both the plants will fail. We have number of examples, so we have to learn from that, and if we take it forward, certainly there is a place and we can use this. The second important aspect is waste to energy comes only in the last of the waste management hierarchy. Because when we talk about energy and waste, there is a lot of energy in the material which we are wasting. So, reducing the waste generation is critical, reusing it is critical, recycling is critical, and what is left after these three, source reduction, reuse, and recycling, that only we should consider waste to energy. That is another mistake which we are doing. Of course, for waste to energy, among the different waste processing technology, this is one of the technology where there is not of public opposition. The public is, especially NGOs and other people, they also have their own reasons. So they also need to be educated how waste to energy projects can be set up without causing harm to the environment. It is possible, but there is still a need to demonstrate that we can set up facilities which is acceptable to this public. So it is in this context the different deliberations which we are going to take up. We should understand, we should ask questions, get clarifications, and then try to develop facilities so that we will be able to fit in waste to energy projects, biomethanation plants, and also the RTF incineration plants of required capacity. It is not possible, it is not feasible for all municipalities to go for this kind of projects. Okay. So we need to think of regional waste to energy plants, especially for larger cities, dedicated waste to energy plants, wherever feasible, integration with the cement plant. So that kind of a comprehensive approach we should be able to arrive at the end of this session. I thank once again NSWAI for taking the initiative. I also take this opportunity to thank our organizing team, Professor Karthikeyan, Municipal, Krishnan sir, and all other people for their efforts in bringing all the stakeholders together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for inculcating our minds with your real-scale experiences of the waste management practices, and we are very privileged to hear from you, sir, as you are one of the key expertise in solid waste management in the country, and he is also the key person in implementing the biomining project in Tamil Nadu. Thank you so much, sir. Now I request Mr. V. Krishnan to deliver the vote of thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all. I have been given the honor and pleasure to propose a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries who have graced this occasion on behalf of now National Solid Waste Management Association of India, Southern Region Chapter, and Anna University. To begin with, our thanks go to Honorable Mayor of Greater Chennai Corporation, Mayor R. Priya. She has taken 1 hour to come to even spend few minutes with us and was graceful in addressing the audience and also launched the LEAF, Low Emission Alternate Fuel. Thank you, ma'am. You have added momentum in Chennai City's journey on solid waste management. We thank the chief guest of the event, Thiru Shivdas Meena, IAS, Additional Chief Secretary, Municipal Administration and Water Supply, Tamil Nadu Government, for taking his valuable time